When he arrives in Snowdonia, Camden is amazed by the mountains. Not having been to Scotland, he thinks they're the highest peaks in the whole country. A Great Britain, the most famous island without comparison of the whole world no less, needed its own awe-inspiring mountain range. So he christened Snowdonia the British Alps. It's chucking down with rain and I'm already starting to sense why Camden might have found Snowdonia slightly unpleasant and intimidating. Way up on top of these mountains, he says, there are pools and bogs, hard rocks and year-round snow. There's a real sense of him putting these mountains on the Elizabethan map, of trying to tame the wilderness. This is Glida Vower, 999 metres above sea level at the summit. I want to find out how Camden justified using a grand term like the British Alps. Wasn't he exaggerating just a tad? Here's one of these bogs. Historically, the mountains had been a hiding place for Welsh rebels. They knew all the mountain paths, the caves to hide out in. No army, Camden says, could find its way through. Screes made up of rocks this size are just perfect for breaking your ankle. I haven't had to cross rubbish like this since climbing the Paps of Jura. These must be what Camden called cragged and rent rocks. When Britannia was being compiled, nobody knew that fragmentation of this kind was caused by expanding ice. What happens is that water runs into cracks in the rock like this, it freezes, and then as ice it expands and it prizes the rock apart. The whole mountain looks as if it's been hit by a sudden bomb burst, but actually this whole process took place in the final chaotic phases of the last ice age around 10,000 years ago. Up here at 3,000 feet in a 40-mile-an-hour crosswind and driving rain, these rocks are like a steep ice sheet. Every step has to be judged, and even with good kit, the freezing cold gets through eventually. Camden was writing during the 500-year climatic era known as the Little Ice Age. One of the coldest snaps in that era was towards the end of Elizabeth I's reign, between 1570 and 1600, when temperatures plummeted. In London, the Thames froze solid. Camden wasn't exaggerating when he said that the snow lay all the year round up here. This stuff explains why William Camden described these mountains as the British Alps. The other feature of Snowdonia that impresses Camden is the number of pools or lakes. There's one in particular that intrigues him.
He says it has an island in the middle, which floats.
Well, here's the lake sitting on this vast undulating plateau, and over there beyond those 3 rowing boats must be the island.
Why did Camden think it was worth noting? Was the island an important point on the landscape?
There it is! Strange, back there it looked pudding shaped, but from here it's more like a whale. Doesn't appear to be floating though.
Since 1536, Wales had been joined to England. A Welsh family, the Tudors, were on the English throne. Leading Welsh gentry were now represented in the English Parliament. The English county system had been imposed on the geography of Wales. Wales, in other words, was becoming part of Britain. I'm just wondering now whether the clue to the island is higher up.
Now I've got some height, I think I've solved the mystery of Camden's wandering island. Depending on whether you look at the island against a bay or a peninsula, it appears close to the shore or far from the shore. So as you walk around all these indentations, the island appears to move to and fro across the water. It wanders, which raises the question, how on earth did Camden know about it? Well, I think you can see the answer from up here too. Here in the heart of cattle country, 3 huge valleys all meet. One of them over there, one here, and a third of them running inland from the sea here.
The lake would have been a key Elizabethan landmark, a crossing point on a vital drover's route. This was a time when cattle farming here was changing from seasonal grazing to keeping cattle in the mountains all the year round.